My complaints about this mini-arc from the previous video, which mostly centered around the baffling trilogy of episodes that follow Reunion, feeling like a story from an entirely different arc, echo in my head through nearly every scene Angel has in Blood Money, but I don't have anything particularly new to add that I didn't mention in redefinition. This joking prankster noir detective Angel doesn't feel particularly dark or fallen to me. The two places the arc leading to Reunion seemed like it was going to go. Still, it's clear by the end of Blood Money that the die is cast. This is the Angel we're going with, and it would be a mistake to keep ringing the Not My Fallen Angel bell, because I've realized that doing so when I have watched the episode in the past caused me to miss some interesting things that Blood Money actually does really well. So I'm going to seriously, definitely, for sure, probably put that bell aside for this one and try and focus on a pretty entertaining episode here at this very odd spot in Angel's second season. I'm not sticking to that promise with Happy Anniversary, though. Not a chance.
I've Gunn will travel, reach the card of a man. A knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind.
The episode's cold open features a serious, major, important development in the series.
Go on, English. Make it move.
It's the first use of Gunn's pet name for Wesley. Team Investigations has taken to hanging out at Cordy's and waiting for either a vision or an angel to call. Cordy has a vision.
It has two heads, and it breathes fire.
It's metaphorical!
Somewhere out in the city, a particularly friendly angel bumps into...
Anne.
It's Anne Lily Chanterelle, the vampire fetishizing teenage nomad who Buffy passed her pseudonym onto in the Buffy Season 3 premiere. According to IMDb, her character's full adopted name now is Anne Steele.
It's metaphorical!
Anne and Angel actually met in Lie to Me, but given their change in, well, everything between the two episodes, neither of them seems to recognize each other. It's a kind-hearted and smiling exchange. As Angel's true intentions are obscured from us, the viewing audience, we're momentarily left to wonder if perhaps Good Angel is making a return. That Angel we enjoy, who gets along with the team and is learning to be a source of hope in the... no, he stole her wallet. It's still Jerk Angel. We get an intimidating close-up that feels like a callback to let us know this is still fire-breathing Angel from the last episode as the camera pans across his desk to show us he's been shadowing Anne for a period of time already. Wesley and Gunn go after a 20-foot demon on their own.
I thought she said he breathes fire.
That may be one of my favorite fart jokes ever. I also wonder, since the monster is an angel metaphor, if it's being able to shoot fire out of its back end is writer code for Angel is currently being an Angel has a conversation with Merle that is more hard-boiled than almost any bit of dialogue in the first season.
Do you have the information I need, or do I have to see what the inside of that head looks like?
Wolfram and Hart step in, clear it all up pro bono.
Pro bono. It's gotta be an angle.
He brings Cordy's clothes to the shelter as an excuse to see Anne. She gives him a tour and tells Angel about an upcoming Wolfram and Hart fundraiser for the shelter called The Big Holdup. Merle takes a door in the face from a new demon named Boone, who wants to know what Angel has been up to. At Merle's mention of lawyers, Boone goes to visit the new co-head of Wolfram and Hart's special projects, who bring him on board. Team Investigations debate what the name of their new company should be, and I'm probably being elitist, but why are they celebrating with Steel Reserve Tall Boys? They're starting a business, not a frat. Sorry, Stee Reserve. Because I'm blessed with a blissfully selective memory, I always forget the scene with Cordy mocking Gunn's name actually exists. And because I do, I cringe hard enough to break bones every time it happens. Not to worry, I'm not going to play the clip here. That would be mean. Angel experiences an attack of conscience and comes clean with Anne Rell, explaining that Lindla are going to steal the money from the fundraiser. Lindsay brings Boone, who beats off Angel. No, Lindla discusses stealing the money in public and are sure they just got recorded. Angel returns to Anne to tell her she shouldn't take the money from Wolfram and Hart because she's only going to see a small portion of it and the rest will go to funding Wolfram and Hart's evilness. At the fundraiser in question, we get a glimpse of that sweet surrogate evil daddy father figure, Holland, gone but never forgotten, before getting to meet new Coke Holland, Nathan.
I like to think of my job as underlining the heart in Wolfram and Hart.
All right, fine. That's gloriously awful. 1 point for Holland, 0. The fundraiser begins with celebrities holding up rich people with plastic weapons. Cute.
Serena, I have to know. This thing with making your character gay, is that like all about
ratings? Because I don't get it.
Amusing bit of Buffy vs. Meta commentary on Tillo there. The show the fundraiser actors are from is also called Life Lessons. Wonder if it's some kind of adolescence allegory. Boone, Anne, and Angel were all in on it together. As Anne approaches the player with the tape, Lindsay and Lila panic and run to the screen, only to discover
Pryce. Wesley Wyndam-Pryce.
it's a big prank. In 1995's first night, Alexis actually got to hone that Sean Connery impression in the flesh. Turns out the prank was a ruse to steal the money. Anne is angry at Angel because she risked the shelter on his word. Diet Holland explains why Wolfram and Hart want Angel alive. Boone returns for a classic Western standoff, and the episode ends with a severely bloodied Angel returning the money to Anne. This time through, something clicked for me with blood money. As I watched the episode, I started imagining that redefinition didn't exist, and this was the episode that immediately followed Reunion. When I did that, suddenly Blood Money's version of Angel made a certain kind of sense. It follows that some point along the path of the Darla Buffy mirror arc would revert Angel to a version of himself he was pre-Doyle but post-Sunnydale. Angel chose to leave Buffy's life and self-isolate. Darla being stolen from his might cause him to end up in a similar place. So yeah, Angel as a burned-out, amoral private dick with an axe to grind makes a kind of sense. Giving away Cordy's clothing and pretending to be nice to Anne while stealing her wallet, all as a means to an ends. I like it. This version of Angel makes a lot more sense to me, even if I have to throw out redefinition in my head to get there. And even ignoring his character arc, Blood Money is a solid and entertaining episode. Revisiting Anne Terrell is a fun step in the post-reunion mini-arc, and I love the use of Boone to explore a Western noir mashup, and all of the elements the contrast of those genres reveals. Boone is played by a virtually unrecognizable Mark Ralston, a Richard Jenkins-style seen-him-in-everything working actor who's been an Aliens, X-Files, and The Departed, though I probably most remember him for the emotional scars he gave me in The Shawshank Redemption.
I thought you'd be halfway to Brazil by now.
Honey. Hush.
The American Western genre mashup with film noir is extremely interesting. While their cultural roots are different, both rose to prominence around the same time period. Classic noir films are visually defined by the claustrophobic binary between light and shadow, while telling tales of morally ambiguous characters. Classic American Westerns are visually defined by bright, wide-open vistas and morally binary tales featuring clearly defined good guys in white hats who care deeply about honor and justice.
You let him go. Why?
The sun came up. You people know anything about honor?
Boone is dressed in typical Western garb, a light duster, red shirt, and boots. His outfit next to Angel's actually makes him the good guy white hat and Angel the bad guy black hat. Thematically perfect for this stage in Angel's post-reunion fall. I couldn't find confirmation of this, but I'm guessing Boone's name is a reference to Richard Boone, the actor who played Paladin on Have Gun Will Travel. Paladin, the hero of Have Gun Will Travel, is an educated American gunslinger for hire, clad in black, whose job often makes him play the part of outlaw, bodyguard, and detective. Quoting from the IMDb summary, "We never learned his real name. He was simply Paladin, and on his business card was the chest symbol of a knight."
No, wait, no, it's now.
Blood Money contains a couple of other mainstays of the Western genre, including a robbery and a final standoff between the white and black hat, nicely symbolic of Angel's regular internal struggle. I love that the sequence is even filmed from the hip-level, prototypical Western standoff perspective, even if it's pretty funny that the camera angle exists because the two of them are supposed to have guns strapped to their hips. Of course, the rules of any medium are eventually subverted. The revisionist Western subgenre began in the 1960s, and there have recently even been a handful of noir westerns like Hell or High Water and No Country for Old Men. Blood Money got me to thinking, if Angel were a character in a western, he pretty closely resembles William Money in Unforgiven, a former outlaw bad guy gunslinger mourning the loss of his wife, who goes on one last job that requires him to be an avenging angel. Julia Lee's evolving performance as Chan Lily-Ann is pretty great. Chanterelle had the air of someone keeping the world at bay, inside the bubble of this naive little vampire worship club she'd found.
She's an unbeliever. She taints us.
By the time she was Lily, that safe bubble had shrunken to just the one she lived her relationship inside of with Ricky.
Forever. I mean, that's the whole point.
And after sharing similar personal realizations with Buffy and taking her first tentative steps back into reality, her bubble became just Anne, the identity that Buffy gifted to her. And I love the idea of Anne choosing to actually create the thing in the world she'd been looking for the entire time. The shelter is hope. for the people who need it. And by blood money, 2 years on from the events of her last Buffy episode, Julia plays Anne as a weathered battler, committed to not giving up, no matter the cost. Because...
what is hell but the total absence of hope? The substance, the tactile proof of despair.
As a former Buffy proxy, she was a mirror for Buffy to experience and learn from what had happened to her with Angel, and also works well at this juncture in Angel's Season 2 arc. There was a very important trilogy of episodes in Buffy's third season: The Wish, Amends, or Angel the Series Episode 0, and Gingerbread. I'm not going to completely rehash the discussion of those episodes here. There are links to them in the video description. Loosely, Amends was about whether Angel's life could still mean something.
I need to know why I'm here.
Even in the face of all the terrible things Angelus had done before. And in Buffy and Angel's world, that meaning is something accessed through the fight.
Strong is fighting.
But in Gingerbread, Joyce asked Buffy a question particularly relevant to this season of Angel.
I mean, you patrol, you slay, evil pops up, you undo it, and that's great. But is Sunnydale getting any better? Are they running out of vampires? It's not your fault. You don't have a plan. You just react to things. It's bound to be kind of fruitless.
If Buffy was meant to keep fighting and slaying, then why hasn't her fighting managed to convert Sunnydale to some kind of utopia yet? Why hasn't she won yet? Is victory even in sight? It's a question that frames Buffy's efforts in absolutes.
It's pure. I remember what that was like.
And throughout Blood Money, Angel speaks to Anne in absolutes, but she refuses to sacrifice her kids in the name of Angel's war.
If an evil law firm is going to help me raise $2 million,
which you'll probably see only 5% of.
5% of $2 million is $100,000.
If Boone and the genre he comes from are about black and white binary truths, Anne's is about the gray. Life is complex, rarely as simple as either winning or losing. And I think there's a very telling detail in the way the episode's final scenes unfold. Boone comes back to Angel saying he has to know whether Angel is better than he is. He throws the money on the floor. There's a big dramatic Western-style standoff before we cut away. A very battered Angel brings Anne the money. Did Angel win? Did Boone win and just walk away leaving the money? I think the episode's statement is in the fact that we never find out. For the episode to fixate on who won would have been to miss the point. Sometimes there are no victories. There is only the battle and the things that we're fighting for.
What's this?
Blood.
It'll wash.
I've Gunn will travel, reach the card of a man. A knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind.